I want to open this by giving you guys a little peek behind the curtain at kind of an industry trick that some of us do. I am based out of Toronto in Canada, and in Canada we don't have access to nearly the same caliber of vehicle press fleet as we do at home because our roads kind of suck. So in places like this, in Southern California, there's a much more robust fleet of cool stuff. So when we are invited out for press events, like I was just invited to Newport Beach for the Volvo EX90 launch, we will often kind of phone around and see what else is available in the area around that time so that we can get two birds stoned at once. Go down for the press launch and then cover something else, and that we got two stories out of one trip. When we were putting out calls of what's around, Aston Martin got back to us and asked if I wanted to check out the new 2025 Aston Martin DBX 707. And to be quite honest, a big all-wheel drive luxury SUV was not what I had in mind. But I mean, I'm not gonna kick it out of bed. I should probably just stop making assumptions about cars, because half the time I do it, I'm wrong. This is really good. I expected this to be, you know, at least kind of okay based on my experience with the Aston Martin DB12 Volante a little while ago. That car really impressed me above and beyond the expectations that I already had on a hideously expensive supercar. So in my head, the mental math went, okay, well, if the DB12 being, you know, a car with a low center of gravity and rear wheel drive was good, this is probably going to be like still pretty good, but like 20% less good. And it's so much better than I gave it credit for. This is really so impressive. I knew this was going to be fast. Like, it has 700 horsepower. There's no way it can't not be fast. And I figured that it would have an abundance of mechanical grip, like the ability to just rip your face off going into a fast corner. What I didn't expect was that it would be so much fun. This is really well executed. It's like, yes, it is super fast. There is a ton of grip. This thing handles very well, but it's set up in such a way that it's accessible, it's fun, and it doesn't feel too fast. Like, I was concerned this would be like an overpowered heavyweight brute, and it is, but it's not too much. It doesn't feel like it can't be enjoyed, which is so impressive. That's kind of what I was afraid of coming into this, right? I'm coming to a city where 90% of the roads are the best driving road on earth. And I'm here in a big all-wheel drive, million horsepower SUV, which is, you know, not what I wanted, not what I picture in my head when I think of California. And I'm taken aback. This is so good, like actually super excellent. Steering feels excellent. It's really organic, it's natural, it's not artificially boosted, it's not too fast or overeager. It feels right, it's confident. It's quick, it's direct, it's sharp, it's fairly communicative. The chassis feels excellent. You always have a good idea of what the front end's doing, when it's gonna plow, when it's gonna start pushing, what the rear end's doing, when it's gonna come around, and you really gotta send it hard to get it to start to brake. This thing has a ton of grip. And it's all managed by an all-wheel drive system that is set up so effectively that I haven't felt any electronic intervention. It's just really well sorted, really well balanced. Great steering feel, great brake feel, very reassuring stopping power from these huge brakes. This 4-liter twin turbocharged V8 engine is the best thing Mercedes makes, and it's all the sweeter in this package. It really feels like a match made in heaven here. It's got a very linear power band, tons of torque, almost zero imperceptible turbo lag. And it's got character. Like, Aston Martin has baked in a really satisfying exhaust tone that, you know, conveys muscle, but it's not obnoxious about it. It sounds really good. It's a lot of fun to play with up here. And it's way too easy to go way too fast. And that's aided by this transmission. It takes commands well, it shifts up and down super crisp. And then in automatic mode, its logic is really smart. But it's nice, it's fun, it encourages you to play with it, it's satisfying. It's not just a huge brute for the sake of being a huge fast brute. It's playful, it has character and a sense of theatrics like an Aston Martin should. And it really has been a very pleasant surprise. I'm honestly so impressed with it. I would not have expected this car to be this good. I would not have expected a very expensive, very luxurious, very opulent, handcrafted SUV to be this good. This is absolutely stellar. I'm so impressed. Thought I was going to be up here missing the Miata that I had last year, and don't get me wrong, that car is very, very good. I bought one. It's good, but this is fun. I'm happy to have this. This is a really cool experience to be checking out. I actually can't get over how good this is. The way it turns into a corner, it's so tenacious. It's got so much grip. It's so eager. And it's so good at telling you what's going on and how much grip you have left. And then the way it slingshots out of a corner with this much power, like being routed through that all-wheel drive system, and this transmission kind of enabling the whole operation is really so much fun. This thing is awesome. This is so much better than it has any right to be. I'm absolutely floored. I can't believe I was like kind of poo-pooing this and not looking forward to it, because this is the best. This is so good. And I almost feel like, you know, in possibly a little moment of blasphemy, I almost feel like the all-wheel drive safety net that this thing has almost enables it to be more fun. I feel like the DB12 I had last week, don't get me wrong, I still kind of prefer that I had that here, you know, because convertible. But I feel like that car fighting to put its power down through two wheels would be a little much in some of these more technical sections of road, whereas this thing just shrugs it off and doesn't care. This doesn't have to rely on a team of electronic wait staff to handle a rough situation delicately. It just is good. It's just always fine. This is not the sort of thing I would have seen the appeal in, being that it's an SUV, being that it's all-wheel drive, but man, this is really good. Like, you would think at some point the laws of physics would, you know, show up, but they're just not. This is really excellent. And it's not like it has so much grip that it's boring either. Like, it's still playful, it's communicating, letting you know what's going on. You feel like you're driving a car. It's not like, you know, the analog of playing a video game. You're here, you're present, you're connected, you're having fun. Like, the car's talking to you and engaging with you. And I'm sure part of it is just how wonderful these roads are too. God, this is good. I'm having the best time. Holy smokes. Wow. I'm so impressed. This is so good. I didn't want to do this. My plan for this trip was to, you know, just come up here for just long enough to make the content I needed to do this, and then pack it up and just, you know, chill in Venice and explore Culver City. And now I'm starting to rearrange the schedule in my head so that I can do more of this, because this is fun. This is a lot more fun than I would have ever expected. This is so good. I just sound like a broken record at this point, but I'm kind of at a loss for words. I'm shocked. This is pretty adequate. So I'm just on my way to the airport to head back home. I tried to set up this conclusion shot multiple times the other day when I was filming this car, and I kept getting interrupted. The first time, I had myself set up on a really nice overlook, and some idiot dude bro in an Infiniti G37 showed up and started doing donuts, because apparently everywhere you go, they are just inescapable idiots. And then the second time I went and got set up, I was losing light, and some guy in a really nice S2000 CR rolls up and goes, "Yo, is that a DBX? Yo, that's nice. I used to sell those things." And then he commented on how he didn't like the technology, didn't like the interior, didn't like the infotainment on them, but that they drove really well. They're like crazy super fast, and that if you were looking for an SUV, oh bro, I'd take one over an Urus all day, bro. They're sick. And then he pointed out this one's a 25, it's got the updated infotainment, and he has a look inside. Yo, that's actually like, yeah, it's a lot better, bro. It's nice. So it's not just me. The tweaks that Aston Martin have made for this, you know, more or less lifting the infotainment, yeah, it's like, it's the exact same as in the DB12, bro, actually work really well. It's not perfect. You know, the navigation I think could use a couple little tweaks here and there. I got myself a little lost a couple of times, mostly just from missing on-ramps and stuff like that. But overall, I think what Aston Martin has achieved here, what they've put together here, is really impressive. This is an amazing driving vehicle. It is so good. It drives ridiculous. ridiculously well. I feel like it's almost, and this might kind of be a weird thing to say, and I hope no one at Aston Martin takes any offense to this, but I feel like this is almost a cross between a DB12 and a WRX, like an old WRX. It has that kind of like, being that it's a hatch and all-wheel drive and has, you know, sort of the pretension of being able to go places and be all-weather usable. I feel like it has that same kind of like scrappy character, whereas the DB12 that I was driving, I felt like it was, you know, constantly trying to wrangle that like insane amount of power through 2 tires. This doesn't have that. This feels like, yeah, I got this, and it's scrappy. It's surprisingly just scrappy and fun and playful, and I really enjoyed it. And then when you're not being playful, when you're not, you know, trying to be scrappy and have fun with it, it's a really nice ultra luxury SUV. Everything is trimmed in the most sumptuous of leathers. Like even the headliner, this is a nice touch. Cover for the panoramic roof is Alcantara. Like just everything in here works so well. It's such an exotic, special feeling place to be. And that's what you want out of an Aston Martin, right? Like you expect a car that is red on red, and like not just red, but like red to be a little much. And yeah, like visually it's kind of a lot, but I think it works. I think in this case it works really well. I like the bright red. I like that the dashboard, the doors, the headliner, like everything is trimmed in this leather. I like the contrast of the gloss black trim against it. I never thought I would say that ever, but in this very specific application, it works really well. I like the satin brush metallic accent on the dashboard over the Bowers & Wilkins speaker tweeter. And like ergonomically, it's pretty sound. You have physical controls for your climate control, for radio volume. Like things I look for in a car are here. And in typical Aston Martin fashion, they're really nicely executed. Just the core tenets of a luxury vehicle, it's got down pat. I mean, it's beyond the tech, beyond the beautiful materials. It rides incredibly well. The air suspension on this thing works great. It just makes unhappy roads disappear. Some roads around Los Angeles do not get maintained because they don't have winter here and they don't think about it. And maybe sometimes they should, and this just makes them unhappy. The ride is great. It's easy to drive. It feels organic. The transmission is really smooth and generally just disappears and gets out of the way, which is exactly what you want in a luxury car. And I want to take a beat to specify that it's not the ZF8 speed that's in the DB12. It's the Mercedes 9-speed, and it works really well. They've got it dialed in nicely. And to that end, like, yes, it is an ultra luxury SUV. It is ridiculously fast and ridiculously beautifully crafted, and you are being charged accordingly. The sticker on this thing is $342,600 USD. So this thing starts at $249, and then by the time you add the supernova red metallic paint, the spicy red leather interior, it's actually called all spicy red, the lower carbon fiber package, the upper carbon fiber package, this, that, ding, 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 Bowers & Wilkins audio, it comes up to $342,600, which is a lot. But I mean, it's an Aston Martin, right? Like, and kind of like I said with the DB12, price sort of stops mattering after a certain point because you're not playing that game. You're not cross-shopping this, really. You know, if you want an Aston Martin, if you want, you know, that styling, that craftsmanship, that experience, that attention to detail, you're just gonna do this, regardless of what it costs. And I'm telling you, if you're thinking about it and you're not sure because it's an SUV, because it's not a traditionally shaped Aston Martin, don't let that get in your way. This is incredible. It does everything you want it to do and then some. For DoubleClutch.ca magazine, I'm Nathan Leipzig. Thanks for watching.